Final Fantasy Dissidia is a fighting game developed by Square Enix. With the main characters from the first 10 Final Fantasy games, you fight in the most memorable locations from the first Final Fantasy games, such as Empty Purple Room, Barren Wasteland, Another Purple Room, More Wasteland, and my personal favorite, Purple Room number 3. Yeah, the locations are only based on the setting of the final battle. I suppose you should be grateful we didn't just get 10 variations of empty space. But I'm not here to talk about the actual game. Dissidia has about 3 hours worth of story, which confused or bored some people. Let's analyze the story then, shall we? 1. Story. So there's an evil god, Chaos, and a good god, Cosmos. They fight each other over their world. Oh no! If Chaos will take over the world, he'll be evil towards this barren wasteland. Go Cosmos, fight him, so you can rule over this empty desert. Yeah, they're fighting over nothing. Anyway, each summon hundreds of heroes that fight and kill each other, but the war keeps getting reset or something, and so during the 13th reset, we're stuck with the heroes and villains from the first 10 games. The villain's task is to do nothing and wait until the war resets again, so they can do nothing some more, while the heroes collect the crystals, which actually do nothing. And then Cosmos commits suicide, which makes Chaos stronger, which makes him weaker, and then he's killed, and so nobody's left to rule the land, and nobody achieved nothing, and the heroes go back home to do nothing. And the story is told by Sid, who did nothing during the game besides narrate. So in summary, this story is nothing, told from 23 different perspectives. 2. Characters. So we have 10 unique and different villains, ranging from armored demonic gods of destruction to this one time witch girl thingy. And we have 10 varying and unique heroes, such as the confused teenager with amnesia with low self-esteem searching for their place in the world. Well, all of them are. So, see this guy? This is Sephiroth. However, he's not Sephiroth, the popular character from Final Fantasy VII. He's Sephiroth from Final Fantasy Dissidia. That is, just a guy named Sephiroth.
Final Fantasy VII Sephiroth.
In Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth is an honorable soldier. However, he discovers something about his lineage that makes him feel betrayed.
Character development.
In his confusion and anger, he murders several people and children.
Dramatic stakes.
Now, he wants to bring an ancient goddess back to power by destroying the world.
Motivation.
So we have a villain that evolves, has a goal, and we as gamers have a reason to dislike him, so the climactic battle feels important and epic.
Dissidia Sephiroth.
He's the guy that stands there, and he says some poetry. Too close to the brightness or you may get scorched. And then he stands there and he has this rose and he says some poetry. A dream is easy to nip in the bud. And then he kinda annoys Cloud for some reason, which confuses Cloud. And then Cloud murders him. Yeah, you go Cloud, you murder that asshole. That'll teach him having a rose and saying poetry. You brutally murder him. So now he's dead. Wasn't that satisfying? So the characters. Emperor is the villain with the amazing plan. He acts like he goes along with Chaos, tricks Jack into helping him, spreading doubt and confusing amongst the heroes. Then Cosmos dies and he has supreme power, and he uses that supreme power too, and then he gets killed. So recap. Step 1. Cause confusion. Step 2. I'm dead! Step 3. Dead. Not even Prophet on this list. Baffles me why his plan didn't come to fruition. He's brilliant. Like when he tells Jack right in his face that he murders his partners and is planning to do the same with him. Right in his face!
Don't make such a fuss, man. I thought I'd just have a nice friendly betrayal.
So Jack does the obvious. No, he does nothing. Fighting against someone you can't beat isn't a sign of valor. It's simply being reckless. Whoa, careful there, Onion Knight. You're using logic in a Square Enix game. What? You avoid needless confrontations? You're mad! You tell him, Cosmos. Because you were overconfident of your powers. Heck yeah! The kid who knows his own strength, avoids needless battles and is careful is way too overconfident. You're too cocky, Onion Knight. Why can't you be more modest, like Warrior of Light? Huh? Is that a woman? You weird creatures have no place in a Japanese drama. You're icky and ew and have cuties. Go faint or something. That's what women do, right? Faint? Huh. Figures that the 2 villain women barely get a cameo in this game, and the 1 hero woman is weak. I would climb on the soapbox to complain how sexist this all is, but all women playing this game are too busy looking for gay undertones and drooling over the male characters, so never mind. 3. Themes. So there's no plot and characters. That leaves us with themes. The theme of Dissidia and every anime and RPG ever is cooperation and friendship.
Friendship is important!
Except nobody ever cooperates, or tries to cooperate or befriend the villains. They just murder everyone for believing in other abstract concepts. Remember kids, murdering people for having different beliefs is good. So the villains stand for betrayment, because that's the opposite of friendship.
Ooh, I betray you.
Oh, I feel a little bit like betraying too.
Problem is, there's nothing to be betrayed, because the villains do nothing. So they do nothing, and then they tell the others that they'll stop doing nothing, and then instead they do nothing, and then they get killed. They desperately want to include a friendship moral, but they have no story that needs or even has room for actual friendship. Villains betray each other purely to demonstrate how wrong it is, and instead of writing an actual story about friendship, they just have the main characters repeat the word over and over again.
Friendship! Friendship!
4. Dialogue. So imagine, you had to write an epic RPG story. So you begin with a rough draft. You write things like, Bart is looking for his path in life. However, the evil Kefka tries to get him on a different path to lead him into a trap. You know, so you have the basic plot outline ready and you fill in the details later to what the actual path is or what the actual trap is. But what if you just took the first rough draft outline and used that as the actual story? Well, then you get Dissidia. Dialogue in most Square Enix games constantly have words with no context. People keep talking about the light or the darkness. They say things like, friendship is stronger than darkness. Whose friendship? What level of darkness? What if I am very darknessy and only have a small friend? Is that friend still stronger? What if my friend is just a guy I kinda tolerate and my darkness is just a small hobby? Are they still stronger? What about honesty, pride, mashed potatoes? Are they stronger than friendship? One awkward thing is, every character uses the exact same word to describe whatever spiritual thing they're talking about. For example, they always use the term path. It's always he must find the path. Never the way or his ethics or his life philosophy. Always the same word, path.
You must discard the path you're on and follow the path of the other path.
Path.
I know this is a very subtle thing, but for some reason it feels unnatural to me that every character, no matter their age, personality or whatever, always uses the exact same term. Versus when the word they use makes no sense. Firion wants to create world peace, however he uses the term wild rose. He wants to plant wild roses. Nobody is ever like, what, roses? You want to plant roses? There's a flower shop. Everyone's immediately, you want to plant flowers? But the darkness of your light is not strong enough for the flowers of hope. Everyone talks like a spiritual monk, like everyone is Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's nothing wrong with a Obi-Wan Kenobi, but you need normal talking characters to keep the balance and have a connection to the audience. One Obi-Wan Kenobi amongst the characters makes him a man whose mind is above earthly restraints and whose wisdom is beyond worlds. Making every character into a Obi-Wan Kenobi just makes your story an incomprehensible mess of boredom. Square Enix seems incapable of writing different types of characters. The wacky clown, the innocent kid, the sexy lady, even friggin' Goofy. Every one of them talks like an idiot. 5. The importance of settings. Another reason why Dissidia's story is so boring is that there's no actual locations in the game. Locations and the way characters interact with them helps greatly in emerging into a story. Locations can help with giving characters something to talk about, provide action set pieces, making you absorb the atmosphere and giving the heroes little character moments, creating a breathing world to increase the stakes of the villain's threat. But all Dissidia has is characters standing around in a barren wasteland or a purple room talking poetry. After shredding 1,000 tears, yesterday's sorrow constantly nears. Wait, but if the sorrow comes after shredding the tears, then why is it constantly nearing? That implies already emotion. This makes no sense! 6. Anime and G-game characters are incapable of having a discussion. Dissidia is all about themes, friendship versus betrayal and power. So instead of dialogue or story, all we get is characters discussing these themes and having arguments about them in poetry form. Problem is, probably because of Japanese culture differences, these characters seem incapable of having an argument together like how we Western people would strive to do. Allow me to demonstrate. Normal discussion step 1. Parties involved have a different opinion.
I want to work alone on this project.
We should cooperate with this project.
Step 2. Use main and sub-arguments to support your opinion.
Working alone gives me control and less distractions.
Step 3. Use stories and past experience to support those arguments.
Last time, I worked in a team. We got much better results because my teammates gave me great advice.
Step 4. Consider each other's arguments.
You know, you're right. I could use some extra advice.
Step 5. Compromise.
Let's say we will work alone, but meet at least once a day.
Step 6. Everyone is satisfied and the discussion is solved. Now, let's look at how successful discussions go in video games and anime. Step 1. Get people with different opinions.
The only way to find your way in life is devoting your life to power and might!
Step 2. Scream your opinion over and over again without ever elaborating.
Power will fail! Only friendship can find the way to light.
Step 3. Yell more and call your opponent names to strengthen your argument.
You fool! Friendship is weak! Only power can fight the darkness of light!
Step 4. Failing to impress your opponent, challenge him to a fight or a game entirely unrelated to the argument.
You will see the power of friendship. I challenge you to a Yu-Gi-Oh battle!
Step 5. After winning your battle, your opponent will immediately discard their previous stat points and entirely agree with you.
You beat me in Monopoly. You were right all along.
Step 6. With this new devotion to your life's philosophy, your opponent will tragically sacrifice his or her life in a needless death scene.
You will die.
No! I finally learned that friendship is important.
No! If only you immediately agreed on my much more superior opinion.
Making the lesson learned entirely pointless. Everyone involved in the discussion is dead, and you learned absolutely nothing besides being more convinced of your own unchallenged superiority. Nobody's satisfied but you. Success! I understand that most of these products are aimed towards teenagers, and teenagers are used and most discussions are adults yelling their opinion at them until they agree with them, so I'm sure they'll relate to the story. But I'm an adult, so I'm offended that I'm supposed to be learning morals from these games. Damn, I need to find myself a teenager to yell at. 7. Okay, I'm almost done. So there you have it, Dissidia story. You could argue, hey, this is just a fighting game, but why is there 4 hours of story then? Besides, these issues are present in every modern Square Enix RPG to a lesser extent as well. In this classic Final Fantasy action scene, the chowing thief Zidane is helping a princess escape her evil queen, pursued by a dangerous wizard. They have an exciting chase scene where the shy Vivi learns to stand up for himself, and Zidane proves to be a true friend by saving Vivi's life. They escape the queen's grasp, seemingly kill the evil wizard, they bond and learn to respect each other, and bring the princess to safety. In this modern Square Enix action scene, 3 guys say some poetry and then randomly have a 5-minute sword fight that ends up being a simulation and they walk off achieving nothing. There's your modern day Square Enix in a nutshell. It's time they fire Poet Smurf and hire actual story writers again.